So as we were saying yesterday in my forecast video, it's going to get pretty rainy and windy and crazy up the coast of British Columbia. One thing I didn't talk about too much actually was the wind potential this week. We all know in British Columbia that spring and fall season can lead to some very big wind events into the interior. Windfall warning already issued for the Peace. We're going to have a look at some wind possibilities in the BC interior. Batten down the hatches. The fall winds are arriving. We're coming back into a very typical pattern, a very typical fall weather. And you know what that means. It means good days are over. Summer has ended fast here. I know it's a little bit warmer in southern British Columbia. It's warmer than I expect it to be, given how damp and cool and crappy it is. But, it's going to keep deteriorating over the next little while. I'm Joey, Only Caribbean Weather Dude, YouTube channel. Hit like, share, subscribe. Let's get on with the show. There it is. This is bad news. My God.
Falling out right now.
Anything could happen. Get on! Wow. I'll watch the video later. They try mopping this. All right, so as we were talking about yesterday, we have a number of warnings for rainfall up along the coast. That includes this one for Bella Coola, Highway 20. That's from the strong storm approaching the north and central coast of British Columbia. It'll bring heavy rain to the region today. It will ease Tuesday, but it's not the only event this week. We're going to have a few of these events, right? Total rainfall 40 to 70 on the north side there. That's for Terrace and Kitimat, the inland regions. And then if we go to the coastal side, 80 to 110 millimeters of rain expected for north central coast, Pitt Island, Hartley Bay, south to Klemtu, and Bella Bella. Strong winds that may cause damage are expected or occurring for the BC North Peace River. That's for southern sections of Fort Nelson as well, near Sekani Chief this afternoon to midnight. Strong Pacific storm is making its way through northern BC today. A strong southwesterly jet will develop over the North BC Peace and southern section of Fort Nelson region this afternoon and weaken near midnight tonight. Main threat could be gusty winds southwesterly up to 90 kilometers an hour over the region, with a greater likelihood of this being if you're in the high terrain. The mountaintops are going to get especially hammered. The wind is going to be strong above you, but we're still going to get some pretty strong gusts on the ground, maybe up to 90 they're saying. Gusty winds can damage soft shelters, tents, and awnings, and things like that. And power outages is probably the main threat that you would think of. Air quality warnings still continuing in the Northwest Territories. It defies all region. Hey, what's going on up far north? Wind warnings up in the far north. That's the other story right now. Meanwhile, we were talking about some of that warm weather. Alberta's getting cooled off a little bit today. New record in Coronation, 29.7. Lloydminster, 29.4. Wainwright got to 30. So a couple records broken there. No records finally broken in British Columbia, but Manitoba did manage to get some. The warmest being Swan River at 26 degrees. Northwest Territories still seeing some pretty warm temperatures. Yellowknife at 19.1 degrees yesterday. It was the 21st of September, folks. Yellowknife's not supposed to be 19.1 on the 21st of September. Nothing to see here. You're woke. Unsubscribe. And Enadai area of Nunavut, 24.3, friends. And even Resolute saw a new record, 2.7 Celsius. It's Resolute's very far north, 2.7. It should be winter there already. Taloyak, 8 degrees Celsius. They've been keeping records since 1951. They never had a September 21st that was 8 Celsius. They did get up to 7.5 once in 1996, just to keep things in perspective a little bit. Other than that, Saskatchewan still, oof. Assiniboia got over 30.2. Coronach got to 30.9. Cypress Hills, 26.7. Elbow area, 30.3. Hudson Bay area, 25.6. Kindersley, 30.4. Last Mountain Lake, 31.2. Lucky Lake got to 30.6. Lucky you guys. That's crazy. Meadow Lake area, 28.6. Outlook area, 31.1. Rock Glen, 29.2. Scott area, 30.1. This is nuts. Uranium City even, way up there, 22.8 Celsius. Wynyard at 30.2. Wow. Already got some winds picking up there in the northern tip of Vancouver Island. There's a 65 reported there. Looks like a ship here with a 44 steady. We got 35 gust and 46 gust and a 67 kilometer hour gust on the southern tip of Haida Gwaii. There's a ship out there with a 47 gust. A couple boats out there that seem to be avoiding the worst of it at this point. 54 kilometer hour gusts there. Some pretty strong ones at Sitka. That's on the Alaska. Pretty good. Over in the Peace there, even 33 gust at Fort St. John. Gust to 44 at Dawson Creek. A stronger one at 57 at Chetwynd. So winds are picking up there so far today. You can see where some of the strong winds are expected today. These are wind gusts, not steady winds, but the wind gusts themselves are pretty important to us because they're the ones that probably take the trees down and whatnot. Sometimes the steady winds, they can be steady at 20, 30 kilometers an hour, and that's strong winds. It's windy day out, but it's like these gusts that come like wham out of the blue, and suddenly you got trees down, branches down, you got power outages and things like that. Let's have a little look. Well, we'll check some of the different ones. We'll start with the HRDPS, the Canadian model, and see what it's saying for winds. So it has things not near as windy for the coastal mountains, and it has stronger winds up there and the Peace. Well, we're gonna watch the HRDPS for as long as we can here and try to get a handle on our winds this week. And this isn't the only day we're gonna see some pretty strong winds. You can see the Caribou's got some strong wind gusts going through, parts of the Bulkley, Skeena, and whatnot. So you can see winds still pick up pretty strong here, even if the wind warning is for some of these places up in the Peace where you could maybe even see a gust push 90 kilometers an hour once in a while. So gusty. So, is it out of the question that we have some power outages even in, the Caribou tonight? Yeah, maybe. But again, like these continuous wind patterns that are happening up there in the north, gusting 75, right? Yeah, those are areas that are going to see trees coming down and whatnot. Maybe a little bit breezier in southern British Columbia, and then you're going to see some of that moving into Alberta as we get into the week, and we're going to see winds pick up there. Very classic fall weather. Nothing that unusual going on there, of course, at all. We're getting these strong Pacific storms, right? They're tailing on in. This one bringing a little bit of snow into the big mountains there that sort of straddle the BC and the Alaska border there. Looks like the BC side taking more of the snow, and then the Alaska border heavy rain moving on down through that central coast of BC. That's where the rainfall warnings are in effect. A little bit of snow up in the north, a little bit of snow falling in the Yukon in the high country, but quite a bit of rain there too. Going to have some showers on Tuesday move through central British Columbia at some point. Some of us in Prince George, Quesnel areas like that are probably going to start seeing a little bit of rainfall. Nothing crazy or spectacular. No. Still bumping pretty warm. I mean, for this is above seasonal warmth at least, because these storms tend to pull the warm weather up from the south. So a little bit warmer there, but even then, snow again in the BC mountains, snow in northern BC. Yes, that's definitely a possibility, and then we're going to see that weather deteriorate even more so as we come into the weekend. That's when you're going to see a larger chance of snowfall through northern regions of British Columbia, areas like, say, Williston, and draw a line west from there, more or less, right? Where is that going to be? So some possibly significant snowfall this weekend, the British Columbia interior. We're back in the fall pattern. Maybe, Prince George is just too far south to take any of that snow, maybe, but at some of our mountains, some of our high country might still see skiffs of it on there. Again, next Sunday coming up, expecting slamming weather up the coast again. So we're in this pattern now. It's going to continue for the next little while. We're going to continue into the month of October, getting rainier, cooler, going to have lots of wind events like this. Snowfall starting in the north, starting in the high mountains, more and more as each of these storms rolls on through. And by the time we're into the first week of October, we've already now had consecutive number of storms back to back. I'm skeptical, but yeah, we know it's very common in early October to have like the Okanagan Connector and areas like by Rogers Pass start taking snow. That's not unusual at all. Very typical, and that warms my heart to see. We need rainfall. We need moisture in this province. And this like long-term model run of the GFS, the Gibbs Falls snow model. Keep in mind, but. And now we're back into September here come full around. You can see the tight isobars. That shows you where your winds are going to be strong. You can see the tight isobars here. So they're like compacting together. It's kind of like topography when you're looking at a topographical map. But instead of distance, or height up the mountain or whatever, like as the lines delineate, they delineate denoting pressure zones. And when those pressure zones, when it's like squeezing tight like that, it's always where the wind is. So that just sort of gives you that bit of an idea. Winds picking up in much of British Columbia. Some of you won't see much of that at all, and then some of you are going to have power outages. Major? No, not major. Completely unusual? No, not completely unusual. It's just one of those things. Hey, this is one of those days that some of you better get your candles ready. Some of you better be paying attention to what's going on out there. I'm just going to be updating you more and more and more because we're coming into the indoor season where I'm going to be less and less and less outside and less busy and more just trying to talk weather every day to keep my channel going and alive. Become a channel member if you wouldn't mind. Please subscribe. We will see you next time. Leave a comment if you would. I try to answer as many as I can every day. Okay, everybody. Bye for now.